So why doesn't he want to talk about the Mark Sanchez tweet?
Wow, do you want to reframe that?
Well, I mean, he clearly only said the IEDC audit was all he wanted to talk about. We did have some questions about who released that tweet, who sent it out, why was it changed, his response to Ryan Mears.
Today's message and today's news is about the great growth we've seen in jobs and wages. And that's what we talked about. That's what the press event was for. It wasn't a general scrum availability. We have those. You all know that. We're pretty open about that. And I'm sure next time we have one, he would welcome your questions. He never shies away from that.
Why not talk about it today?
Well, he's already exited the office for his schedule that he has next. We release the schedule in advance. Sometimes it gets a little tighter than we'd like, and so he had to get to the next commitment. But we didn't want to cancel the press event entirely, so we had to tighten it up to a little shorter than usual.
Could you offer any additional perspective regarding the Mark Sanchez tweet and his response, and then his other response to Ryan Mears? Any insight that you can give?
I think the Twitter exchange tells the story pretty well on its own. I would let it stand alone.
Molly, any word of concern that because the Mark Sanchez story got so much national attention on Indianapolis and Indiana, that could hurt economic development down the road? People, I don't feel safe about my employees, my businesses. I want to maybe move out of the downtown area. Is that a concern for the administration from that perspective?
The governor has for months expressed, if not longer, expressed concern about safety in the capital city and how important it is that local leaders, the local prosecutor, finish and do his job completely and entirely to ensure that the worst criminals of the people who are perpetuating this violent crime are taken off the streets so that whether you're a visitor or a resident, you can feel safe in downtown Indy.
Does the governor anticipate at this point calling a special sessions on redistricting?
I'll let the governor's remarks from the past about redistricting stand. Nothing has changed in that regard.
Regarding the Economic Development Foundation, some Democrats have found the audit's findings regarding that troubling, and I know it's supposed to be winding down. Is there a plan for any kind of replacement, or is the governor going to be, if he travels, will he be traveling in his official capacity? What's the plan for the setup there, since previous administrations used that as the vehicle?
So the plan is still, as indicated a couple weeks ago, to wind down the foundation. We are in the process of putting together what that means from a legal perspective for the remaining funds. How do we handle that with transparency? What's the most strategic use of those dollars? So that final plan is still coming together. Your question about is there a plan to create a replacement? No, at this time there isn't. From day one, what I have heard the governor say is if I'm going to travel, we'll just be transparent about it if we're using taxpayer dollars. And frankly, just this last week, I think October 1st, we owed a report to State Budget Committee, as did all the other statewide electeds, of travel in the first half of the year. And so that is a good source of accountability and transparency to show where the governor has been and what it costs taxpayers.
Molly, can you clarify the governor's and the administration's stance on the LEAP district? I know he's talking about trying to bring in small businesses more. The IEDC audit mentioned that almost, I think half or close to half of the total output was on that LEAP district. What are some, how does the LEAP district fit in to the administration's view of the IEDC moving forward?
That's a good question. I'm going to actually defer on that to Secretary David Adams to provide additional clarity for how the Office of Commerce will leverage that going forward.
Do you have any amount of capital investment with the IEDC?
I don't have it off the top of my head, but that's a number we can get you. That's a publicly available number. We just didn't prep it for today because our focus is on jobs and wages. That was definitely a focus of the last administration. I get that. And we have that figure. We'll get it to you. But our focus is jobs and wages.
Are wages keeping up with inflation in Indiana?
Are we or aren't we? Is that what you said?
Are wages keeping up with inflation?
No, I think we're doing better than inflation. We're at 10% increase for the average new wage that's brought in, right? So 10% for new jobs across Indiana on average is a great figure and definitely beating inflation.
Are there plans for the IEDC to pursue either of the new companies of Corteva that's splitting up? Are there plans to pursue those to have headquarters in Indiana?
Well, I don't think the IEDC typically comments on those kinds of things, but of course we would welcome all headquarters of all different types to Indiana. We'd love to see them be here.
Should the LEAP district be shrunk further? I know there have been some land sell-offs from it.
Well, again, I'll defer on the specifics of that to Secretary David Adams.
The governor's previously, spoken about the energy costs, the AES rate hike. Does he have any comments or concerns about the report that AES is, in advanced talks to sell to BlackRock?
I haven't spoken to the governor about that yet.
With that job growth, nationally, there's some concerns that we are entering a more sluggish part of the economy. Are there any concerns about Indiana in the future? I mean, we're talking about jobs here, but it's looking really slim here moving forward.
I don't agree with that characterization. I think that what we're seeing is Indiana is strong and getting stronger. I think the national economy is showing signs of improving and rebounding, and I think we'll continue to see that. And as the governor shared in the context of the federal shutdown, Indiana is well positioned to weather any storm, no matter what it may be. We're managing prudently, and we're living within our means, and I think that that extends to your question as well.
Just to follow up on that, though, I want to say Indiana's like the third highest state in the union that depends on federal funding for programs and the whole 9 yards. So I guess any concern that if it does go on, obviously Indiana's good to go now, but there's only so much in reserve before Hoosiers really start to feel the pain of a government shutdown.
So your question is how long until we feel the pain?
Yeah.
I think that, again, I just point to the critical services, the critical pieces that we are in good shape to help manage and weather, even if the federal shutdown extends. I think Hoosiers can know that we're putting them first.
How's the state going to weather the WIC fund running out in probably another week or two? Some states are paying their own funds. Other states are just letting the program lapse.
I don't know the specifics about that. Yeah, let's check in with FSSA about that and see. Or is that IDOH? IDOH, yep. We'll check in with IDOH about that.
What about, this is a little bit more long-term, the various food assistance programs look like they could run out of money at the end of the month. Would the state potentially step in and fill the gap on staff?
Same answer. Let's see where we're at. Let's see how long this goes. We have smart people leading different state agencies. We'll work out with them the details to try to make sure Hoosiers are served well despite whatever may happen in D.C.
But has the IDOH given your office any reassurances that they would be prepared should it come to that if this extends for a longer period of time?
It's the same answer. The state thankfully has a lot of strong leaders. We're all working together. We're all monitoring the situation to address what we need to address to make sure Hoosiers are taken care of. So we'll see, right? Anything else?
I apologize if I missed it at the beginning, but do you have any information about Grissom being used for National Guard planes from Texas?
No, I don't know about that.
Any updates on Camp Atterbury potentially being used as an ICE detention site? We know it was floated as a possible site. Is that a done deal? Is it still in the works?
I don't know if that one. I don't know the status of that. I'll have to find out.
Griffin mentioned in a statement that FTI shared all relevant findings with the Office of the Inspector General from the audit. Any updates there, or any reason to believe there might be any more coming from that office?
Well, by design, the Office of the Inspector General is pretty locked down. So even if I asked them, they wouldn't tell me and they wouldn't tell you. So unfortunately, we don't know. We kind of know when we know. That's why we all monitor their agenda page to see what they're going to talk about. So I couldn't even speculate as to where they're at with it or when we might know if they're looking at what that might be, unfortunately.
With the winding down of IEDF, I know that do we have a targeted wind down date? A targeted, we hope by the end of 2025, for example, that's wound down. I know you're in the planning.
It's that soon. I don't think it would be that soon. I think we want to make sure we take more time to be really strategic and thoughtful about it. But other than that, I wouldn't hazard a guess right now. But except to say, we do. I don't know off the top of my head. But yes, we can get you that figure.
On the issue of MBEs and WEs, I know they're sort of revamping how the whole process works. One of the things we're hearing is instead of race and gender per se, it would be more how the size of your business, number of employees, how long you've been in, what sort of capital you bring in, what your expenses are. And that way you sort of cover everybody without throwing in the race or gender issue. Is that something that you guys are looking at?
I read that in the cheat sheet this weekend or this week. I think that the governor has been clear that he would like to see us do more with and for small businesses. So I can't speak to the specifics of how we would define small business or what that might look like, but I do know that that's a passion of his, and also he believes that that's the backbone to growing the economy, not just at the state level, but in the local communities, empowering and growing those smaller businesses. So we'll see what the near-term future holds for what we might be able to do in a healthy way for other businesses.
Thank you.
Thank you.